So thank you for your interest. Now, on the 23rd of September, the Pope Franciscus will meet President Obama, in the White House. And I think 2 or 3 days later, he will also speak in the United Nations and will proclaim all sorts of things. Now, the big question is, how is this possible? How is the connection? Why is this? These historic figures, we have here the pyramid. And if you think about a governmental structure of priests and kings, of an unseen God, everything what you needed in the past, to lift somebody up and say, yep, this guy is the king, he is like the hero, because he was put into power by God. Okay, now this used to be, but not so since 1789, since people said, no, there is no God anymore, but we have like an unseen trinity, there is something unseen. So we have on top, we have a power which is unseen, which is a phony monetary system, and we back this up because we don't really know who this unseen God is, so we make a law that all gods are the same, and then we divide the world between Democrats and Republicans. Now, Democrats and Republicans. Now, for you who do not speak German, on 23rd 09 September 2011, 4 years ago, also the Pope, not this one, but the other one, the same one, like the 7th and the 8th King, spoke in the German Bundestag, and what he was saying is that the culture in Europe, and not only in Europe, also in America, is the connection between Jerusalem, Athens, and Rome. Now, because everybody believes that there is a God, and the children of Israel are a proof that there is a God, okay? Then, of course, it's very important, if you do not follow the real God, that you have to set up a system by which you have something hidden. So you have something hidden, and then, when you take the faith to God of the children of Israel, then you put them into Athens. And here Rome. So the Pope says, our culture is the connection between Jerusalem, Athens, and Rome. That means everything what is on Jerusalem, you are actually not able to understand, you don't know, but you have two different forces in the political world, two different thoughts in your brain. Okay, the first thought is of Athens, of Greece. Okay, and you find this in Zechariah, where the sons of Zion are fighting against the sons of Greece. Why? Because Greece is saying, they said, okay, there is no truth. You have left and right, and then we have to make like a synthesis. Okay, we have to make like a compromise. There is no absolute truth. There is no such thing as normal or so, No, you can choose whatever you desire. Or whatever you desire. This is the thought of Athens, okay, where you have a philosophy, a love of wisdom, okay, and you have some thought of godliness, but you absolutely deny the power of God. You absolutely deny it, okay. Now this is Athens. These are the Democrats, where they say, no, I have an opinion, you have an opinion, and make like always a compromise. A compromise is always a lie. Now, this is why America has like this two-party system, because it doesn't matter, okay, there is an unseen power installed above you, okay, which is the dollar, from the Federal Reserve. Every government has to be below this. Every government has to be below this. And then it doesn't matter how your laws are, you're always subject to a debt-based system. You're always in debt, and you always need a credit rating, and when your credit rating is bad, then you cannot burden more debts, okay, and then you're dead, okay. And this is the system of Athens. So to make sure that you pay all your debts, okay, you need very strong laws of Rome, okay. And the Romans, they were the only ones since the year 150 BC, as of before even Jesus. They had like the Stoic philosophers, and they had like the Stoic law. And then when slowly the idea of a savior king of Jesus comes in, they said, no, this is impossible. How can this possible? No, Caesar is God, Caesar is God, a man is God, and there is no forgiveness of sin unless the Caesar graces his thing. Now this graces his grace. Okay, so now the Republic of Rome is by its core system always fascist. Always fascist. This is fascist idea because it comes from the word Faschke, which is like these, little sticks bound together with the wreaths of, like some flowers, and then there is an axe on there, okay? Now, like a knife, and it is the power, this is what it looks like. Okay, so if you take a look at this, you have this symbol when somebody is speaking, in the House, when Obama is delivering his State of the Union speech, on the left side and on the right side, you have like this insignia of fascism, the insignia of the Faschke, the insignias of the Roman imperator, of the one who is able to make an executive order. Okay, so you have already installed here, all right, so on the one side you have humanism, but humanism is the idea that man is able to become God by his own merits and deeds, okay, like the Pope, okay, who is God's representative on earth, if you believe, if you believe. Now, this is exactly what will happen on 23rd 9 is when the leader of the free world, Obama, who is subject to the phony money system of the World Monetary Fund, of the Federal Reserve, okay, meets the Pope, okay, who has a succession of hundreds of years, okay, and claims to be the only person in the world who is infallible concerning the teachings of Christ. Okay, I mean, this is a big job. Now, this is him, all right? And also he is subject, to this financial order. Now this is what's called the Trinity. This is a false Trinity, and this is together seen the system 666, because you have man here, you have man here, and you have man here. Alright? You have, wherever you take a look, there is no spirit in there, there is no forgiveness in there, there is no love in there. The only thing there is that there is a relativation of, thought, of morals, of values, and then somebody who makes a law for it, and whoever makes the law is subject, to a system of debts, Now, this is unfortunately today the reality. So now you have the chance, okay, to check if this is true. I mean, do you really believe that this is the right system? Do you really believe that this is the right system? Now, when you take a look in the Bible, all right, you will find in Revelation, you will find a pretty much good explanation on what will happen on 23rd 9. Why? Number one, this year the Pope is indeed the Antichrist. Now this is very important now to understand that when I say anti, it doesn't mean that he's against, okay? It doesn't mean that he is somebody that he is against it, but the word anti means instead of, okay? And the Pope here, he sits there instead of the real Son of God. The real Son of God. Now the real Son of God says, Jeremiah 31:9 says, this name is Ephraim. His name is Ephraim, and he is the lost son. He's the lost son, you know, who received the blessing from Jacob to receive the name Israel, to bring together the tribes, to put peace, install the kingdom of peace on this earth. This is Ephraim. He is the one the prophets are talking about, who is about to come to proclaim, that the sins are actually really forgiven. Okay, why? If anybody in the Bible Belt would open up their Bible and read the letters to the Hebrew, we will see that Yeshua, that Jesus, he took his blood, went up into the heaven as a high priest, where he put, all the required offerings so that we have our Yom Kippur. We have our Yom Kippur. In the moment we are receiving, on 23rd 9 is the next day. In the moment, everybody who receives the idea, yes, that Yeshua, Jesus, died for the remission of sin, he already fulfilled all requirements. We are saved. All right? Now, when you believe this, then you are somebody who is returning. Then you are the lost son who is returning. Why? Because our Father in heaven, he wants that his sons do understand his salvation. Now, when you are of the Pope, then you are not a son. When you are of another system, you are not a son of the kingdom. You are not. So, it might be that you have a heart that you support Israel, that you have a heart for the Jewish people. It might, that you support the Jewish people. It might be that you are a Jew and that you're a very, very strong Zionist, and you think that the idea to work with the Pope is a good idea. Now, it's not a good idea. It is not a good idea because the only person in the Bible the Zionists need in order to fight the sons of green is indeed Ephraim. Now, and this is one of the most mysterious persons in the Bible, and you will find out that there is a lot of discussion. Recently there are tens of thousands of people waking up everywhere in the world. And now it has come to pass that Ephraim the first time is actually a nation. Totally hidden. Nobody actually saw this except those people who have been there, who have been in Jerusalem with there. And I show you a bit, how this historically all fits together, why this is now and why this is an ordained time of the Father in heaven, to bring the secrets of God to the open. And, this is the time now. Because we have now 2015. Now that means here the dollar system is now valid for 100 years. It started 1st January 1914. Now today we have 70 years after the Shoah. Yeah, 70 years after the Shoah, 70 years after the Holocaust, 70 years after Hiroshima, 70 years after the times of the trouble of Jacob, where for 7 years, Israel went through an absolute total destruction. Okay, now this already happened. Now we have also 2,300 years where Isis, where the Egyptian goddess Isis entered the pantheon of Alexandria after Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. Okay, so 2,300 years, and this is a time you find in Daniel 8:14. 8:14. It says it's 2,300 years. Okay. Now there are some very other significance, because we learn in Matthew 24, when this tribulation actually happened, that the sun darkened, that the sun will darken, and that the moon will turn red. Now this is this year. This is this year. Okay. Now. So we are actually having here some issues open. Yeah, we are having some issues open, and in this time frame, what happened? Okay, is that 1917. The first time for 1900 years, Israel was liberated from the Ottoman Empire. It's the first time where no foreign power was there, and that the mandate Palestine came into being, including the Balfour Declaration, and so on and so on. Okay, now this is now 98 years ago. So another 2 years, we have 100 years. All right. Now, 1967. Okay, so 1967, all right. Jerusalem became free in the Six Day War, and this, of course, is now 48 years ago. So we have now in 2017, all right, 100 years Israel and 50 years Jerusalem. Now, when we take a look into the prophets, and it says, okay, it will be like in the time of Noah. Now, if we're looking for a time frame of 100 years, where we say, okay, the people, the land will be freed, the city will be freed, and the people will be freed. Now, this is 2017 in the Jerusalem Jubilee year, 5777. All right. So now, this is the current order, and the only two positions, or actually the only one position, the very, very, very one position, which is here in question, is what's with the Pope? What's with the Pope? Who is that Pope? Who is this Pope? Now, this Pope, in 1929, became king. Mussolini made a contract, in Vatican City, so that the Vatican City becomes a kingdom, and the first king was the first pope back then. Okay, very questionable person, yeah, like all the other popes afterwards. Now today we have Pope number 8 is coming to you. He's the king number 8, so he is coming to you, to the United States. All right, and Pope number 7 is a German who is currently retired. For the first time ever that a Pope actually retired. For the first time for 700 years. Now, that means we have somebody who is actually a Hitler Youth person. Used to be a Hitler Youth person. He used to be with the Wehrmacht, which is like the German army during the Third Reich, and the parallel Pope, the 7th Pope, is still he's still Pope. He's still Pope, and he's still king of this fascist kingdom. All right. Now, and this fascist kingdom will be established very, very strongly when you take a look at the press release of the White House, okay, that the Pope, wants basically to join, to hands in hands with Obama to declare the New World Order, slowly. They push this out slowly, New World Order. Why? Because they represent some unseen power, okay, represented here by this all-seeing eye. So, here you have now Ephraim. Okay, so Ephraim comes from also from Germany, like Theodor Herzl and a lot of other Jews. Okay, and it is the time. It is the time that after 2,300 years, the restoration of Israel slowly takes place. Okay, and then if we take a look at the last 100 years, then Ephraim is a very, very, very new phenomena. While it is over and over all written in the Bible, it's a new phenomena which started about 20-25 years ago. 25 years ago, not before. And why? Because you had, if you go down in history, we had 1929, it's Pope. Then we had 1933, the fascists take control over the world. Okay. Then we have 1945, Germany, Europe in total darkness. Okay, absolutely catastrophe. Okay, so 1949, Germany was founded. Okay, 1948, Israel was founded. All right, and only in 1964, the Vatican started like the Second Vatican Concile. The Vatican Concile. Before, okay, there are a lot of laws where the Pope actually claims to be infallible. All right, so he is not the person with whom you are able to make a free state. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Fascism is at the core of Catholicism. Absolutely. Yeah? And if you take a look at what Franciscus says, then you will find out very quickly, that this is a fascist kingdom. Okay? Now, I don't say anything, if you like this, that's something else, you go out within a democracy, you can tell whatever you want, but I know a lot of Bible-believing, faithful Christians, in the United States, and they're always, afraid what happened with the Antichrist. No, the Antichrist is coming. The Antichrist is coming and he meets Obama. The question is, what are you doing? Right? So, because in 1967, Jerusalem, was free suddenly, and in 1980, the first time we have the Jerusalem Law. All right. Now, and since then, all the embassies of the world actually left. Okay, only the Christian embassy actually started there. Okay, and in the year 2000, Ephraim, at the Feast of Tabernacles of the Christian embassy, became the prophet who brought the word from Jerusalem. So when you are in the United States or anywhere in the world and you read the word from Jerusalem, from the ICEJ, from the International Christian Embassy, okay, then I can absolutely rest assure you that this was Ephraim doing it, okay, and it was also within the ICEJ where the two sticks, which were handed, of Ezekiel 37, they were actually put together by Ephraim within the ICEJ. Now the ICEJ rejects this, and submits, unfortunately, since then, to an anti-Christ spirit, like the Pope, okay, like the Pope, who says, okay, I'm Pope, I have the wisdom of the world, I'm infallible, but I deny that Yeshua, that Jesus, the Spirit, is able to come into the flesh. This is denied, and this is, as you can see, this is the Antichrist spirit. This is the Antichrist spirit. This is the spirit of a false trinity which does not exist. So now we have 2010. It's the first time in history By the way, this here 2000. This is this is Aleph Alpine. This is in Daniel 7:10, where it's written out. There's Aleph Alpine, year 2000, minister to him, and this is Isaiah 2 verses 3 and Micah 4 verses 2. You know, this is where the Torah went out from Zion and the word from the Lord from Jerusalem. This happened from the ICEJ by a person who claims to be Ephraim, you know, that would be me actually, but you know, so this is actually has done in the year 2000, and then in the year 2000 we had Europe. We had Europe, a new entity, never existed before, with 12 stars, like the 12 stars, this 12 tribes of Israel in the national flag. You know, like Europe is a state now. And for the first time here, when the new decade start on 111, yeah, 1111, this is where, in a way, the last 7 years start. Everything lines up with biblical prophecy. You know that the contract, the half year contract was broken. That the war breaks out in Jerusalem, and so on and so on and so on. So now we come after 100 years of history. After 100 years of history, where in the last 100 years, 260 million people died at the hand of their government and at the head of the church, at wrong ideology, and so on and so on. And a lot of people hated the Jewish people. Why? Because they were the only ones basically proclaiming and keeping fast to the word of God. Now, when a Jewish person is going out and you ask him, okay, tell me what, tell me something about Jesus, or like a Christian, he thinks everything is Catholic. You know, he thinks it's Catholic. He thinks it's Catholic, okay? And one of the biggest issues, you know, in the Christian-Jewish relationship is this this idea that there is a triunion God, like three persons in one, which you can believe, but you cannot explain. You cannot explain it, and it does, by the way, it doesn't make any sense anywhere. And you see that when you see the Pope. When you see the Pope, you see the Antichrist. He is telling you, you know, to keep Sunday, to worship like statues, pictures. He's the one persecuting the saints and so on for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I wonder, you know, why nobody actually saw this before. And I said, okay, one of the big reasons is because nobody came up and said, wait a second, I am Ephraim. The guy has my job. Because if somebody, you know, is the picture of the risen one, of the Son, you know, then he cannot do what the Pope is doing. Then it's a guy like me, you know, and I know that there are a lot of sons out there, you know, and a lot of fathers in God, in the book, and they want to see that the salvation of God is actually coming to this world today. You know, they want to see that the restoration of Jerusalem and the restoration of Israel. Now, the interesting thing is with the Pope, so when he is coming, now he's coming, he's the king of a kingdom with 1,000 inhabitants. All right, the official language is Latin, and you are only as long as a citizen as long as you work there. All right, so until you die or you are excommunicated or something like this. So it is a construct. It's a construct. What makes it so interesting is that the Pope owns personally all the properties of the planet, what belongs to the church, including 50% of Jerusalem. Now, if you wonder what will happen on the 23rd night, now think about this. You know, you have a very good relationship between Netanyahu and Obama. Okay, there is trouble with the Palestinians. The Palestinians want to have a new state. Now, the Pope actually rejects, since ever and ever, any claim of the Jewish people since Theodor Herzl, for the Jewish people of Jerusalem. Okay, he does not accept that Jesus died once and for, one time, he died once, that's it. No, they keep it, and instead of showing the Jewish people their Messiah, they are showing them like a wrong God, and do not become any partner, for the Jewish people. I mean, the Pope is the one persecuting the Jewish people for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And what I don't understand is why in the world do the Zionists and so on, why do they put him up there? Why do they put him up there? Now, and if you take a look in Revelation, I believe that this is now the time, where 10 kings receive power with the Antichrist for 1 hour. For 1 hour. And then you will see that the 10 kings who receive that power, they will plunder the whore. They will plunder the whore, and they will make her naked. They will make her naked. And if you think about this, when how the Antichrist is thrown into a lake of fire. Now, if I think about ABC, NBC, CNN, the Letterman show, Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, Michael Savage, all the righteous guys, they come out that, oh my gosh, we have the Antichrist there. And then the networks start, telling what the Catholic Church did. How the pedophiles, the scandals, the killing, the excommunication, all right, what they do with believers, it's unbelievable. The ISIS is a child's play against what the Catholic Church did for the last 1,700 years. And the Pope, he's the one. So the question is, right, how will the Pope react when Ephraim, the firstborn son, is offering a peace? All right, and says, you know what, guys, I am really the one. There is no other guy in the Bible. This is why we are writing here like Ephraim rising. There is no other guy. And each one of you has now the opportunity, the absolute perfect opportunity to check, who's right? The Pope and Obama, or Ulf, who claims to be Ephraim, and with a cloud of witnesses of other people everywhere in the world. So, and this is what Ephraim Rising is all about. And this is where I ask you for your support. It has been a long ride over the last month, over the last years. Now, this ride for me started actually 21 years ago when I left my hometown in Germany to find out, is this now true or not? Is this now true or not? And one of the issues, the first thing is, in the moment I started reading this here, and I went into a church, and they said, no, it didn't match. It didn't match. So you see this one, you go into a church, has nothing to do with each other. Yeah? Now, if you go to a synagogue, as Acts 15 says, there you find even more Jesus in there. Why? Because they are at least trying to keep the absolutely good laws. They are holy, they're spiritual, the laws, the Torah of God, they, the Jewish people, a lot of, and this is why they are blessed. They are blessed. Now, sometimes they do not see that Yeshua actually is King of the Jews. He's not king, So, but this is the person, if you follow the King of the Jews, you become, in quotation, outwardly, of course, also like a Jew. You start keeping Sabbaths and so on and so on. And this is now the big, the big challenge and the big idea that you have on the one side, 3 billion Christians. Huge amount, yeah? Okay, and then there are like, Catholics, yeah, and then you have like Pentecostals, yeah? Here, Protestants, all right? And they all agree on one thing. Yup, Jesus is God, and yup, the Torah is invalid anymore. We have only the New Testament. And yep, we keep, instead of Saturday, we keep Sunday. Now, this is what 3 billion Christians are saying. Now, on the other hand, there are 16 million Jews, I think, last counting, 17 million Jews. Okay? So when this is the big pie of the billions, you know, it's like this here. No? You hardly can see it. You hardly can see it. It's like very small here. So these are the Jews. Now, what divided them was that the Jews say, yeah, of course the Torah is valid. Of course the Torah is valid. No? So are they right? Yes, of course they are right. Of course. What other law can God give? I mean, this is why he brought Israel, you know, to the place that, you know, Israel becomes the apple of the eye, that Israel becomes a light unto the nation, that the people will see how great and beautiful the laws are. Now, 2,000 years ago, but then, you know, we have here people, they said, okay, we have Yeshua, we have Jesus. Now, is Jesus written of in Torah? Of course, but nobody actually is able to see that, because everybody who is this, they do not show the king of the Jews, but they show a Roman god. Yeah? This is a picture they show, and if you take a look in history, even when the Protestants started to protesting, now they did not protest on the major issues. Not. There were some theses of Luther, but the major issues, they're still the same. You know, child's baptism, Trinity, Sunday, you know, different celebrations of the Jews. So, no, this was no protest. This was the Reformation of the Catholic Church, which was reversed some years ago. So there is no Reformation, there is no Protestantism anymore. Everybody stopped protesting, okay? That means, all right, though there are 17 million, because they do not see the true King of the Jews, they do not see this here, and this is why there is always like this big wall between understanding between Christians and Jews, okay? Now the Christians, what they are missing, yes, they have the Spirit, yeah, but they reject the law. And when they reject the law, then you have no ability to discern the spirits. You cannot. If you if you have a Christmas spirit, the spirit of Christmas, this is a demonic spirit. It's a demonic spirit. If you take a look in the Bible, you know, you don't put up idols of wood. You don't put you don't put up Christmas trees. You don't. You do not, because it's idol worship. Okay. And so when you say you have the Spirit, yeah, but you do not have the law, you are lawless. You're nothing more than lawless, okay? So the big problem here is that every time somebody comes and says, okay, hey, Torah is valid, you know, the guy is burned at the stake, right? I mean, I know a lot of people about this, you know. People are going crazy, people are going wild, and there has been the idea that the people of God, the Christians and the Jews, they have two different groups, they're two different gods, and they're two different ideas, and that everybody has to force the other one, you know, what to believe. But the truth is, they belong together. They belong together, you know. So the Torah without the Spirit is legalistic. Yeah, and we see this in Rome. The law of Rome, the laws you have with your IRS, the laws you have with immigration, you know, equal opportunity and whatnot. Yeah, there is no spirit in there. It becomes legalistic and makes a lot of people to criminals who are actually no criminals. Yeah. Now, so when you have no Torah, you are when you have only Torah, you might be legalistic, but at least you keep the Torah. You know. Now, if you do not have the Torah, and you only have the Spirit, you are absolutely lawless. You are lawless. So the absolutely best, the breed, the fullness of the Gentiles, this is actually what Romans 11:25 says, that there is a mystery, in Israel, that Israel is partly blinded. Yeah, of course. The Jews, they do not see that the Roman God Jesus is their Messiah. No, they can't. Because, they can't. Because it's totally, it's not good. All right? Now, on the other hand, this part of Israel, they are also Israel, they are blinded towards the Torah. So, but until the fullness of the Gentile comes, which is the Meloha Goim, which is Ephraim, you can take a look at this, it's in Genesis 48, it's very clearly written, how Ephraim will be the fullness of the Gentiles, and once he is revealed, all Israel will be saved. And you see this in Revelation very clearly, that that Ephraim, that there are people, that they are the sons of the living God. The whole creation waits for them, that they keep Torah and they have the testimony of Yeshua. These are the two distinct items none has. Now for the Jews, okay, our offer is, very clearly, guys, please take a look at this. You're looking for somebody to explain how history is connected with Yeshua. Please listen to what Ephraim says, because Ephraim tells you, no, Jesus is the firstborn of creation, who became not only the Passa lamb, but he is like the Yom Kippur offering who went up into the heavens, okay? And Ephraim is the one who received that offering, but is the scapegoat returning after he has been lost into the nation. I mean, this is Ephraim, 3,500 years lost into the nation, for totally forgetfulness. We read this in Hosea, in Amos, and so on and so on. Okay, so this is Ephraim. And by on 23/9/2015, Ephraim will be in Israel. We take some witnesses. We will visit a lot of friends there, and we'll take a look how we are actually able to make peace between Ephraim and Judah, because this is right now, in these last days, this is absolutely major. The major plan of God, that Ephraim and Judah, they are coming together. Judah, the Zionists, they are looking for people who make peace. They are looking for people who make peace. But when they come, to the Catholics, when they come to those people who are actually persecuted the Jews for the last 1,500 years, it is very hard for them, to make peace. It's very hard for them. So this is why they check, what's happening there with Obama and the Pope. But my offering, Ephraim can be the new Pope, in a way, can be the new Pope, because Ephraim fulfills all biblical promises towards to be the star of Jacob. So we will do this, slowly, bit by bit, in increments. Now, what we ask you today now already is to support us, okay? Because Ephraim is indeed an order. There are various people. It's a legal body here in Germany, and it's a priesthood of the order of Melchizedek. So, and our offer is that you accept this, that you see this as a chance, not to make war, no, but we want to make peace. And I'm there to tell you, yes, Ephraim is indeed alive. He is indeed alive, okay? And he is God's choice. He is God's choice against the Pope. He is God's choice against the Pope. And we offer you, take a look at our information. Please register for the kingdom. Yeah, we are saying that we are looking for 5777. Yeah, this is for the year, for the Yom Kippur year. So every male who says, okay, you know what, I understood this. I'm looking forward to see, the kingdom of God coming to being. I see currently there is, in our world order, it's totally impossible to get out of there unless there is a divine intervention, and Ephraim is coming home. Ephraim is coming home. And this is what we are there to find out. We put down our lives to do this, okay? And so the first thing is that you say, all right, you understand that this year, this is phony money. These are debts, okay? Please register with your debts, send us 5777, and give us the support we need, to the travel tickets, to pay people to make and participate in the restoration of the kingdom. Yeah. So if you register, then you are also part of more information. There will be more opportunities. Why? Because we honestly believe that this is the time the prophets are talking about. Okay, where the whole building of this wrong statue of Babylonian worship and Pope and idols and stuff like this, it's coming down, where the Bible, the true Spirit of God will speak now to men and women alike all around the world and say, Ephraim is coming home. It's the biggest event in history, and it's happening in our lifetime, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see you there. We will report from Israel. We give more and more offers, so please register. If you have any questions, contact us. If you want to invite us to speak, if you want to make a hangout, let's do that. We are there to serve and to bring the peace to the nations. So, please, bless you, register, pray for us, participate, and see you in Jerusalem.